Hello, my darlings. Madam Raven here with another collected tale by Gelfwyn. This one's entitled Pennyroyal. Cassie was one of the children I tutored for extra money. She was brilliant but angry and discouraged already by life. A sorrow in a girl not even old enough to drive. Learning it was her money that paid me, and that her parents considered education to be a waste of time, made me furious. I asked her what she wanted for the future. To be a hell away from this place and never come back. She made it clear she didn't want the husband, 2 kids, and a dog that's most of the girls I'd spoken to. She just wanted out. I asked where. Somewhere Pennyroyal doesn't grow. An odd statement. I brushed aside till I worked a month later on her English assignment. A poem. A scream for help describing herself as poisonous. One line stood out, but I was spared the Pennyroyal's kiss. Now I was curious what the story was about. Pennyroyal was a wild mint, grew everywhere, tasty but nothing special that I had ever heard. Not a rowan to keep out evil, nor yarrow to divine the future. It was simply another mint to me. So I started the best place I could think of, with Granny Tansy. Granny Tansy was ancient, shrunken, had been around since the Depression, and when doctors were rare, she could stitch a cut, deliver a baby, or break a fever. She knew more tales than she would speak of, but maybe she would tell me about a single herb and why a child felt poisoned by it. Her house was on a dirt road that I swore you went back in time as you went down it. No phone, no electricity, no running water. Her house squatted in the middle of the gardens. Chicken runs, sheds, and orchards. A gray mule barely lifted its head from a patch of grass. A goat ran to see if I brought anything remotely edible. Granny was in the garden. She couldn't be bothered to come greet me. I threaded my way past vegetables, herbs, things that look like weeds to me. Granny Tansy? Yes. Come help me with these beans. Want to be canning before it gets hot. I bent to the task of snapping off the green beans with her. I have a girl I'm tutoring. She mentioned an herb, and I just don't understand what the meaning is. Denley girl? Have you asked her? I was shocked and curious. How could she know the girl? Yes, ma'am. She wrote about Pennyroyal's kiss. Another time she wanted to live somewhere where Pennyroyal didn't grow. Granny nodded. That girl has a few more brains than people know. She knows what it is. Just don't think she's realized that paw of hers is one too. I'm sorry, Granny Tansy, but one what? A Pennyroyal child. Ain't so common now. Got store things to prevent unwanted babies. Got medical ways to get rid of. But some of the poor ones still rely on Pennyroyal. Her pa was one of 5 Pennyroyals. Damn fool of a woman kept using it wrong. 1 was a drunk. 2 were just mean bastards. 2 were sickly, simply-minded creatures. Her pa was one of the mean ones, but smart enough to stay out of prison. Married a timid woman that wouldn't refuse him anything. Ripped the womb out of her ma, being born backwards. Wouldn't be no more Pennyroyal children for her. We moved to the porch. Started to snap the ends off the beans and prepare 'em. I still don't understand, I'm afraid. Granny Tansy's hands were gnarled and weathered, but fast at their task. Hands that could soothe a child or swat a fly out of the midair. Hands that could twist the neck of a chicken or sew the hem of a bridal veil. Pennyroyal, try it. Makes a nice tea. Soothes the stomach and the nerves. But fresh. Make a strong tea and drink it if you're late to bleed and don't want a babe. poisons the woman's vitals, makes her body unfit to carry a babe. Sometimes too much and the woman dies. Sometimes the babe lives. Now, if it were too little, then the babe might be sickly, but if it weren't and lived, you get a Pennyroyal child. She spat off the porch in disgust. Body lives, but their soul is poisoned and dead from the womb. That Cassie girl, she has the poison eaten at her. She feels it twisted in her. Right now she's fighting it. Her pa, he wallowed in it like a sow in fresh mud. Mean as a snake, that man. Jealous of even his own kid. The mean ones, they the ones you hear the most. That man few counties over got himself shot in the middle of Main Street at noon. Stolen child, wife beside him. Pulled enough lead out of him to make an anchor. But not a soul, not even that little girl he married, saw who shot him. Police people say 20 different guns were used. He were a mean one, baiting people, burning their houses. But when he took that little girl, they got the courage to cleanse the poison. Be a woman I heard of, 7 babies, all of them dying in their cribs. She would weep and wail for the cameras and then be planning the next funeral before the babe was out of her belly. She looked down at the apron full of beans she had left. Some ain't deadly to others, miserable, unhappy creatures that know they ain't right but not why. Find the bottle or find their grave young. That Cassie girl, she knows why, and she hates those 2. What should have protected her? If she wins, she'll leave and probably be a successful woman, but never happy. The Pennyroyal wins, and those 2 will be dead, and the girl's smart enough to get away with it. Might even develop an appetite for it. Why, I watch her. They die, and I feed her wolf's bane. Won't let that sorrow be turned out into the world. I blinked. That herb I knew, deadly aconite? Granny Tansy had just admitted to me she would kill the girl. I guess my face showed the shock I felt. I'm old. I get confused. I meant to give her linden to soothe her after the tragedy. Mix my herbs up, but better to be thought touched than let a Pennyroyal child loose that could be as deadly as she. Swear Jesus, thought of giving it to her when she first started showing signs of being bright. But I figured she's fighting it. Let her have a chance. She loses, then those 2 get what they deserve. Then the child can go in peace. Lord already has her soul held safe. What can I do? Just what you already do. Listen to the girl and tell her about what can be waiting for her out there if she don't let the poison fester in her. Tell her it's okay not to go and whelp another babe with the poison in its vein. Tell her she can live and be free of it. Tell her if Granny Tansy can fight the Pennyroyal, so can she. Author's note. Pennyroyal, as a dried tea, is relatively harmless. I wouldn't drink it while pregnant or wishing to become pregnant. But pennyroyal oil is deadly. Even small amounts cause massive liver damage and can cause death with as little as a teaspoon for an adult. And yes, in the South, and I'm sure in a few other areas, it was used as means of abortion. However, it sometimes killed the woman or failed to abort and left you with a very sick child. I believe it was used in England too. Anyway, so quoth this raven.